Launching my first product in the Atlassian Marketplace was the best decision I could make, period. There's a high chance Jigsaw wouldn't exist today if we would go and have a standalone PM platform. You see, for digital product makers with limited resources like myself, succeeding requires navigating a risky and lonely digital realm, often without a compass. A digital marketplace is like a travel companion. It shows you your pathways and gives you travel gear, making your journey towards success a lot more comfortable. For a small fee, of course. There are strong reasons why you should consider launching your product in a digital marketplace like Atlassian's, and I'll mention them in this episode of the Startup Corner. But not everything is cotton candy, and there are ways you could crash and burn in this kind of ecosystem if not careful. So stick until the end, and I'll tell you what to look out for so you avoid crippling your business and product right at the start. Consider the following scenario. You have an excellent idea of improving reporting in projects and want to transform that into a product. What are your options? You could build a complete PM tool that incorporates reporting excellence, but what are your odds in joining the big guns in the product management arena? Well, without deep pockets, an impressive phone book of decision maker buddies, pretty slim. And even with all of that, how many of your buddies can you really convince to drop the tools ingrained in their ways of working and replace them with yours? Not to mention all of the overhead with technology. What protocols do you use to make your product secure? How do you charge for it? And so on. And all of this needs to be dealt with before you make a single dime, of course. Another option is to build out just the reporting bit. You can make it integrate with popular PM tools and avoid the building other parts except for the reporting. That way you focus on what you know best, and you also have a higher chance to break through teams if the tool does one project management function well rather than trying to replace an entire tool set. But you're still left with having to pour money in tech sales and dust off the trusty phone book with well-positioned friends. If you have any, that is. But if all that sounds unappetizing and makes you consider stick with your job, don't give up just yet, because there might be an approach fit for you. And I know this is gonna sound crazy, but how about going where your customer is? How about you build a reporting app or plugin for Jira or Monday.com or Salesforce? There are established PM tools that offer their customer the choice of extendability through a marketplace of apps. And I'm sure that the users of, say, Jira would love your reporting solution that seamlessly installs and integrates. But what exactly is a digital marketplace? Here's a broad definition. A digital marketplace is a platform creating a venue for both buyers and sellers to transact over a product or service. It matches potential buyers of a service or product with providers of that service or product. The marketplace acts as an intermediary between buyer and seller and deals with all of the logistic around distribution, acquisition, or payment transactions, so you don't have to. It does this in exchange for a percentage fee out of each sale. The digital marketplace industry has been booming in the last few years, and there is a variety of types out there to enable digital product makers like yourself to thrive. But today we're talking mainly about marketplaces developed by existing SaaS tools, software as a service businesses, to promote their extendability of their products by allowing third-party startups like yourself to build apps or extensions. Basically giving you the tools and platform to create additional functionality and getting paid for it on a recurring basis. Some quick examples of such SaaS marketplaces and platforms include the likes of Slack, Salesforce, and of course Atlassian. Okay, but why consider such a platform, and how does it help you launch and grow your own SaaS product? I'm going to list out 8 of the most important benefits we took advantage of in our journey as vendors in the Atlassian Marketplace. Hopefully, you can make your own conclusions after this. A marketplace will have a high volume of traffic, and a percentage of that will be people looking for a solution like yours. So it makes perfect sense your product is listed. The growth and the survival of the marketplace depends on the volume of acquisition on the platform. Makes sense, correct? So a company like Atlassian will invest in driving constant traffic and optimizing the experience to maximize sales. And this is huge for a fresh startup with little capital like yourself. It means you don't have to spend money you don't have so that you drive leads to your product website or worry if conversion pages are optimized enough. Something that very few talk about, and with good reason. It is much easier to rank your listing high on a platform like Atlassian Marketplace than, say, Google search, mainly because of 3 reasons. Space is not as overcrowded by millions of results, making it nearly impossible to have exposure. The indexing engine is simplistic by comparison, which means you can tweak your listing to perfection and chase to satisfy the algorithm with effective results. And also, there will still be popular, if not decent, search keywords that competitors have not capitalized on. All you need to do is identify your customers' vocabulary, and of course there are several ways to do that. Another massive benefit that some of the marketplaces have is instant indexing. Now, this will not be the case in every single platform, but for Atlassian Marketplace, every change you make to your app listing has an immediate effect. And I'm not only referring to what visitors see when they land on your profile, but where you place on search results. And this means you're enabled to tweak and experiment with your listing data and see in real time how it impacts your position for a specific keyword. Honestly, this is brilliant, and I wish more platforms would ditch their nightly indexing habits and implement something real time like Atlassian does. Most of these marketplaces have several promotion campaigns to place products for customers strategically. For example, Atlassian has staff pick apps, a section for apps with solid security practices, and plenty of category-based feature pages. Due to the highlighting and stronger discovery through advertising, apps in these sections and pages usually get more traffic. Atlassian has individual criteria to meet to qualify for each of these mentioned featured places, but they're not impossible to achieve. Although some would argue that you need many installs and to be ahead of your competition, it doesn't really apply to staff pick category or trust signals and sections. Being early in your journey, the extra installations of your apps make such a difference. This might not be the same with other platforms, but I'm sure there are others out there with the same experience. Atlassian offers a very seamless licensing experience for apps. For example, for their task management tool Jira, customers only need to click one button to install an app from the marketplace. This is simplified, but you get the gist. This makes it easy to install and try apps and figure out which ones are suitable for your team. With each app installed, the customer gets 30 days of free trial, and after that, to start paying for it, they need to do absolutely nothing. Yes, you heard that right. The billing system used for apps is unified with paying for the main product. This means that if the customer has already set up a payment method for their recurring Jira subscription and they decide your app is valuable, they will pay automatically on the same invoice with their Jira. It makes for a shorter approval and acquisition process for your customers, and there are no switches to flip on your side. It is all seamless and less likely for the customer to fall through at the acquisition stage. Contrary to what you might think, Jira users will not pay you directly for your app, but they pay Atlassian, which pays you. To get specific, Atlassian pays you once a month a lump sum for all of the licenses used by their customers, which makes them the reseller of your licenses. This means your accounting becomes more straightforward because you only need to issue one monthly invoice. And of course, having Atlassian as your single paying customer means your monthly payments will usually be in full and in time. So no more chasing after unreliable customers for payments and dealing with tens, hundreds, or even thousands of invoices. I always say that building apps in Jira resembles building features in a product. Honestly, for me is excellent, not caring much about how to authenticate and manage users or how to charge for the product. Dealing with payment gateways, user access management, various SSOs is still an overhead. Yeah, sure, things have evolved and gotten easier lately with full frameworks and the likes of Stripe, but still, I'd rather my team and I focus on building cool features than implement and manage all of these systems. And to take things further, not only do you have less tech overhead, but most of the marketplaces will have thorough developer documentation and tools to help you quickly get up and running with building your product. For example, Atlassian has a couple of app frameworks to build for cloud, a front-end UI library so your app look and feel like Atlassian product, and an extensive API documentation for most data available in Jira and Confluence. Where there's a marketplace, there are many others like yourself. Often the community behind the product can help make or break it. And luckily, the Atlassian developer community has many involved individuals eager to help and also keep the marketplace makers in check when things are, let's call them, a bit bumpy. I find it refreshing to be part of an active community and know that many good people would come to my rescue if I get stuck with something. There are also many tools and resources created by the community for the community that will save you a lot of time and headaches. For example, we published our own open source projects like an app boilerplate to help you start new apps quickly and maintain a coding style. We also published our script to pull marketplace license data and send it to our reporting tools, and also a few UI components. As mentioned at the start, yes, there are massive benefits to launch on marketplaces, but you can wind up calling it quits if not careful. Here are a few things to research and watch out for before entering such platforms. Flawed developer tools. If the developer tools and resources are massively incomplete or full of issues and challenges raised by the community, it means you'll waste time dealing with headaches and workarounds. You might also reach dead ends that will cause significant shift in your plans. The rate of change. If the marketplace ecosystem and platform are changing or evolving rapidly, you'll need to be aware of it and really understand if you can keep up with all of the changes imposed by the platform. As a newbie in the ecosystem, it can get overwhelming. The platform fees. Some marketplaces charge significant fees. 30 to 50% is a big cut. Even 20-25% is substantial, especially nowadays when platforms are racing each other in benefits to attract more developers. So you need to evaluate the benefits a specific marketplace will bring and if the fees they charge are justified. The platform versatility. This is mainly regarding the licensing and pricing. Are you able to structure the pricing model the way you see fit? Can you do freemium? And Are there means for you to upsell or cross-sell? If you're not well versed in SaaS pricing strategies, do some research, then try and figure out what will work for your product. And if the marketplace is restrictive, will it make you rethink the pricing or the platform? Speaking of restrictions, basically, what are the rules and the big no-nos you need to comply with? For example, due to GDPR restrictions, Atlassian doesn't share user information with app vendors. This makes all our onboarding, upskilling, and notification needed to be done strictly in the app or sent to a single tech contact email address. The restrictions a marketplace has can be the deciding factor to if you go marketplace app or standalone SaaS. And finally, but super important, startup friendly. Do figure out if the platform has incentives and programs to help new joiners grow in the space. Many just blatantly favor, promote, and aid the big guys because they bring the big bucks. So then, is there a point for you to try and join what seems like an elitist environment? For example, Atlassian does have metal tiers with better benefits for larger partners, but they also invest in educating and promoting new startups. They also have an investment program called Atlassian Ventures, where you can submit to get a loan note to help you build and evolve your product. And that's about it. I gave you a bit of my accumulated knowledge and experience with marketplaces in the hopes that you can make the right decision for your business. Every marketplace will have challenges, but what's essential is appropriately evaluating the benefits and underlying issues before you dive in and adopt such an ecosystem as a core component of your business model. I'm Biro from Jigsaw, and this has been another episode of the Startup Corner. Subscribe and like this video if you find it helpful, and check out our other videos while you're here. Have a great one.